In this film,
oh Lord,
I'll take you on an adventure into winter. We'll travel to the extreme north and drive the ice roads as part of an upcoming documentary I'm doing on Buffalo winters. To get a better understanding of our winters and how they seem to be changing, I took a trip to the extreme north, to the ice roads. I figured if there is one easy way to understand an indicator of how cold our winters have been, it would be the formation and longevity of ice each season. And to me, the ice roads make a great barometer. Well, we're packed and ready to take our trip up to the frozen north. It's been really weird to have such a cold snap, one of the coldest winters we've had in years, and still have rain in February. When I was a kid, I remember that when the cold set in, usually the end of December, it stayed until March. And now we're getting 50-degree days, 40-degree days. Yesterday it was raining. And this snowpack, melts. There are years where we have no snow on the ground at all. So the cyclical nature of this is interesting and difficult to understand. So I'm headed up north to talk to the people that have to drive the ice roads. I'm a little nervous. It's a very long drive and off the grid, so to speak. So yeah, hopefully the vehicle is ready, full-size spare, emergency road kit, tow straps, chains, beacons, jumpers, starters, tire repair kits. What else? Oh yeah, the little air pump thing for the tires. Food. One thing we don't really need is a cooler. Anyway, so we're off, and I'll check in at the next checkpoint. The first 6 hours was generally clear skies, but then we ran into a snowstorm, a really big snowstorm. And the roads got worse and worse as we drove. Finally, after quite a distance, we reached the beginning, or at least the formal beginning, of the ice road itself. So we're at the entrance to the Weedham Ice Road. I'm making a cup of coffee, and we've got about 170 kilometers to go that way. And we began our voyage up the actual ice of the ice road. Miles and miles and miles of endless horizons. Here we go. This is a water crossing, right, Jen? What do you think?
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah, that looks like it could be. The landscape has transitioned. The surface of the road at this point is ice surface, like they flood it and let it freeze. Temperature is about 10 degrees Fahrenheit, and as we get further and further north, the trees are getting smaller and smaller. It basically means the habitat's not conducive to the larger trees that we were seeing earlier. Where we're headed is to the southern reaches of the Arctic Ocean, and a lot of these waterways have tides, so that when we're crossing, depending on the time of day, you'll see huge cracks because the ice moves up and down. And then came our first major river crossing. Yeah, so this is probably a river crossing here.
Oh Lord.
I remember that hill from the videos. Yeah, so far at this point, we're just having more challenge trying to figure out what's land and what's not land. But I'm glad that the temperature's 10 degrees and the ice continues to freeze. Is there a name on that river?
Little Abbott something.
Abitibi.
Yeah.
So yeah, check crossing, creek crossing ahead. Oh,
Wait.
okay, yep. It'll also give GPS coordinates for these, you know.
Oh boy, he's got a trailer.
Yeah.
Let him just stop. Yeah. Can he go?
You go?
Or you got to back up?
Yeah, back up. He can't quite get the...
He's backing up.
Sure, I can back up.
All right, he's
Okay.
going to let you go.
That's the creek right there.
Yeah. Thank him.
Yeah. Should be okay. Thanks.
And then he floors it.
Yeah, he's got to get up that hill. We're on a river right now. So this is the Abitibi River. And that's the hill we got to get up. That was cool. Here's Jen Jen.
Yeah, but we want to make sure that there's not anybody coming from this other side, and it's
Yeah.
hard with these hills.
Yeah.
There we go. Get up that next one.
Yeah, it goes. You know, you can always get a running start, but I like to listen to the tires to see how
Oh,
they
he's
sound.
got a heavy trailer, too.
And he backed that thing up like a boss, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's grippy.
You can see the cracks in the ice, and then they seal over.
Yeah. And it could be that, yeah, right. So we're coming up on the French River, crossing North French River, I think it says. Running start at it, I guess. Oh, yeah. This one. Oh, yeah, this is the one everybody always talks about.
This is water,
Yeah, it's
so
a
you got to
big-
be careful charging into it.
Yeah. Wow. Beautiful. Wow. All right, so right about now we're driving over the French River, which is a very big river. Wow. And we gotta get a little speed to get up the other side. So finally, after 6 hours of driving on the ice roads, we got to our first destination to go in search of some answers as to what's happening to our climate. And then this is us going across the river. And then our next task was to get checked into our hotel, try not to freeze, and realize that we were way up north. Tomorrow morning, we're going out to meet with Gourd, who's the foreman of the winter road, or the ice road. And he's going to take us up to a remote town called Fort Albany by the winter road, which is on the James Bay, which is the Arctic Ocean.
The high school students will bring them Moose Fat.
After a good night's sleep, we met up with Gourd bright and shiny in the morning and headed out on the northern part of the winter road. Are there times where you run out of supplies of like fuel if the ship...
Oh yeah, especially like late fall and late spring.
Because of the
like
flooding?
yeah, not like the bar was I guess winter road season, then switch over to barge season.
Right. And so I think there's a thing they call helicopter season.
Yeah.
And tell me about what is helicopter season.
Well, between here, Moose to Moose Factory, or people want to get to their spring camps for the spring harvest, or even the fall harvest, like they use a helicopter between here and Moose Factory.
Isn't that ridiculously expensive?
It must be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And that's how some of the students go to the high school here by helicopter.
Really?
Oh yeah.
What? People go to high school?
Yeah.
Well,
Instead of using school bus, helicopter bus.
And you were telling me your daughter's first job was as a pilot.
Yeah. Like geographic wise,
Well,
or
like is this Cree?
yeah, there's a home to the Swampy Creek,
Okay.
Muskego people.
Okay.
But it's all Muskego here.
Tell me your story about how long you've been working on these roads.
I think it was over 20 years now.
Yeah.
When I first started, I used to work on here like at night by myself with the old loaders.
As we drove, Gourd told me about problems with safety and extreme danger in this remote wilderness.
What's the
It's just a guy got stuck with a dozer and he was out of radio contact with anybody, couldn't get a hold of anybody.
Wow.
So after that, like you had to be within radio, like help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it was pretty cold that night too, like about over past -40.
So, Gord, what we didn't understand, this road that we're driving right now has ice underneath it. Like,
Yeah, it's all
I can
swamp.
see it. So this is swamp. This is like
Yeah, you'll see it first.
marsh.
Yeah, well, you see it more up ahead, about 25 kilometers from here. It opens right up.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the water is maybe how thick, how deep underneath?
The right here, right now, it's
Yeah.
not too bad. It's like moss.
Just
Muskego.
okay. Yeah, just a little bit. That's what we were trying to figure out. I'm
Yeah.
like, where
They're
is
real
this-
spongy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Do you add water on top?
When they had a lot of funding for the road, we used to have water trucks. We watered the
I
road.
thought so.
Yeah.
But now, what do you do? I mean, like this right here, what would have had to happen to make this?
Well, there's like the tire drags, like push down the
Yeah.
frost, and then after that, with that big metal steel drag,
Yeah.
it's got a cutting edge, like maybe a
Oh, like a scraper.
like
a scraper you'd scrape varnish off of paint.
Yeah, yeah.
Paint off of wood or
You
something.
just drag it and it just cuts it down. And one of the first stages we do is we get our snow off the road, like to expose,
Right.
so the cold can get at it. And then then we get the tire drags out to push the frost down more. So like it's just eventually building up the ice so you get heavier equipment up.
And I've seen this huge tires, like 3 of them together on a chain,
Yeah.
and then those snowcats come
Yeah.
and just drag them down.
Yeah, that's basically for pushing down frost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Now, the big question I have is, over the course of, let's say, your lifetime, have you seen increasing difficulties in keeping this road usable? Meaning, these
Yeah,
warm
like
melt
the-
days.
Yeah, the seasons are getting shorter.
Okay.
But before we used to I consider young, like 59.
Yeah.
And then, we used to start early December, first week of December. Now, this year, we didn't start till January 1st. A few years back,
Yeah.
we used to start, the first week of December. But now, we didn't start this year till January 2nd.
Wow.
Yeah.
And yet, we have this vicious cold winter. This year's been a pretty good one by my standard.
Yeah.
What about the road melting earlier? Do you notice things, or is that kind of hard to?
It does. Sometimes they're melting early, and they go to global warming. I don't know. It could be just a cycle. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's what I don't know. All I can say is in my time here, I've noticed, a lot more melt. I don't get the Christmases like when I was a kid,
Oh yeah.
It wasn't long after this point that Gourd pulled over to show me something.
So we're up here along the shores
Hi.
of the Hudson Bay, James Bay, and so what do we got here?
This is some of the equipment used to maintain the ice roads.
Yeah, yeah. It's called the steel drag. So.
And then you got that over there, which is that makes those lines in the road.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Scarify it.
Right.
Gives you more traction on the road.
Scarify it so that it gives you like ruts to give your tires something to grip.
Yeah.
And then this guy is the big dragger. And then sometimes you get the tires
Yeah, the tires is more for pushing down frost.
Oh, okay. Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that gets rid of the frost heaves?
Because the tire drags come out before this.
Basically, Gourd was telling me the only way in and out of here when things aren't frozen is by helicopter, and seaplanes can't land because there's trees in the way.
But in the spring, it's hard to get here.
Yeah, they come here with helicopters. I mean, they either come here by mosquito or go home by helicopter.
Okay, big question. Black flies? And mosquitoes?
Yeah, I get a kick out of people down south talking about flies. Come over here. Oh.
Yeah.
As we headed north toward Port Albany, I was struck by the vastness of this place, its isolation, and how vital this road is to the people who live here. Along this northern part of the Winter Road, occasionally we would come across some breakdowns. And while we were stopped inspecting the car, Steve, Foreman from the north end of the Winter Road, came down to talk with me.
All right. I guess my curiosity is, what is the hardest thing about working on these roads?
Well, there's recently we started having a challenge with the climate change. Like at the start of the season, like it's always warm spells and also hardly no snow, lack of snow to build those snow bridges and the ramps.
Yeah. Is it getting harder and harder to keep these roads open? I worry that, warm days mean less usable roads. Mm-hmm. And you seem to be seeing more warm days in the last 17 years?
Well, actually, like just recently, we started having a challenge with the climate change. It just started to affect on back, even though we live in the northern remote communities, but that climate change started to impact with that all that warm weather spell we get.
And so personally, you're seeing the effects of that?
Yes, it do. It really affects on the with the James Bay Wind Road, because the more traffic is in, the more the problems and the damages and lots of punch outs and etc.
How about polar bears?
Well, sometimes there's polar bears comes around, like but right here, right out in Jensen, there's the open water.
Yeah.
It's not frozen and during the cold winter months.
Yeah. Steve.
So there you have it. They do have polar bears up here. Not that I really expected to see any. As we headed north toward Port Albany for our next interview, I was struck by the vastness of this place, its isolation, and how vital this road is to the people who live here. We pulled over for our next meeting and were greeted by a fox who didn't seem very worried about me at all.
What kind of fox is he?
And as I waited for Ricky, our next interview, I got my first sight of the Arctic Ocean and James Bay.
Hear that sound? That's the sound of my feet squeaking. Right now, out here, I'm in my turtleneck. It is minus 22 degrees Fahrenheit. And over there is the Hudson Bay, the part of it that's James Bay. We've been riding down the ice roads here with Gourd, who's been telling us about the composition of the road and what it's like maintaining it, creating it every year, and about living up here this far north. But I can see the bay, and for me, that's a pretty big deal. That's something I've always wanted to do. I guess you call it a bucket list. It's a big moment.
And after standing around in the wonderful dry cold, Ricky came along to give me the interview about what he sees on the ice road.
This
this year, December, it almost all of it melted once we got the first snow.
Whoa.
And then that's why it looks like it's ice covered right now.
Yeah.
That was the one that melted it. Even our elders, they say it's becoming harder to predict the weather. You know, it's keeps changing. And last year I noticed too, the weather, it wasn't just local.
Driving all this way just to learn about the weather in my hometown seems a bit extreme, but I learned a lot. As a side note, a little more than a week after we returned to Buffalo, the ice road was closed due to warm weather.